This is Steffi Iyer with you, our viewers on ENFRAtv, India's first and only YouTube digital media channel on energy, power, infrastructure and economy. With me today is none other than Professor A.G. Iyer, Editor-in-Chief ENFRAtv and Editor-in-Chief and Publisher of ENERTIA Markenomy in this Union Budget 2015. Special episode of an Infra Show, the Bijli Pani Sadak Show. Welcome Professor Iyer.
Hello and welcome viewers. This is an absolutely important event because something which is going to be landmark and futuristic, which can transform the idea of India, which can actually take us to the future, has happened with the Union Budget.
My first question to you, sir, is this budget a Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas budget? Has it fulfilled the expectations of the public at large?
See, that is a very good question, and it is a very loaded question. Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, which I have been critical of all this 8-9 months, because first 6 months up to let's say June there were some movement in that direction, but I think the government lost a little bit in between. But current scenario is that this was a great opportunity before the budget. The kind of expectations that were created with the Union Budget 2015 were like it was the in thing. They said this is a make or break budget,
Right.
But I think to be very fair to the finance minister, it was extremely difficult for him. Because right now I have two nice documents. And the first signs were within barely, I'm saying, an hour of the Union Finance Minister giving the budget. The country got two documents. His speech, the budget speech was already there online, and the key features of the Union Budget 2015-16 was also there. These two documents are in my hand, but I'm not going to take these key features because it could be just too brief. I'm going to take the text of the speech to explain to the audience in ENFRAtv and the Enfra show that the budget is definitely meaning sense in Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas. When we say Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, what we are talking? We are saying the man on the street should be also getting benefit. And I would say you should not also discriminate with the people who are entrepreneurs and industrialists. I'm not talking of the club of 31. I'm in general talking about small, medium enterprises, middle-level businessmen who are going to break into the large club, who are going to build the infrastructure of the country, who are going to bring up the energy and the power sector up in the country, who are going to add to renewable energy, which is Modi's mission. Because Modi has been talking about, and he has been taking himself the 100 gigawatt solar by 2022. So these are the type of pitch that we need to take, and also definitely the poor farmers, the poor people, and these are the issues that you cover from all spectrum of the society and give something for everybody, but may not be big, but really something to do in the Indian economy, be part of the contribution of growth of the Indian economy. So if you ask me, in that sense, this is an equitable budget, and as we proceed in this discussion, I want to give each and every portion of it. But when I say Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, let us look at it. Have we ever seen in any time in the Union Budget that 42% of the total tax collection from both, I would say typically the direct tax collections are going to be given directly to the states. So this is the first Union Budget in the history of India which has done that. And overall tax kitty, I would say the collection, if it's 100 rupees or 100% of the total tax collection, 62% of the tax collections by way of excise duties, sales tax, service tax, all of that put together before a GST regime has been allocated directly to the state governments. And only 38% is being kept by the central government. So this is first time in the history of India that this is a state empowering union budget. And I make it specific that this is the decentralization of ability to invest and take a decision to use the taxes in the manner the country wants. So federalism, what Modi promoted, what Modi talked, he has walked the talk for the first time through this budget. And I'm very clear, this is de facto Modi budget, but all due credit to the finance minister to achieve the target of the CEO. Modi is the CEO of the country. So his own finance minister, who is responsible for the finance department of the country, has delivered what Modi has promised in the past. And I give full marks for this purpose. Yes, if you ask me now to rate this budget on a scale of 10, then I am not going to go the way the media channels have been going gaga, but I am being fair to the finance minister. It is like a child. Yesterday, a child was there, born in the house, and he had an exam next day. What happened to this child is, yesterday the power cut was there. The child was given food by the mother, right? The mother gave food, the child got the food, but there was power cut, and the child had to study in the lamp. The child ended up studying throughout the night and had no sleep. And he went to give the exam. right? With all the problems that are there. And then when he gave the exam, after the exam he got 8 marks out of 10, right? But when he came home, now we are slapping this child for not scoring 10. I will never do this.
Right.
I am saying this nice first budget of the finance minister under the Modi government, absolutely the first free budget, is scoring an 8 out of 10 in Professor Iyer's parlance. I stand by it. I will protect and defend it. While I remember that I am the same man just 2 days back, I have actually criticized the rail budget of Suresh Prabhuji, because Suresh Prabhuji must have done much more, and he had the capability to do more. He can say that I cannot do, but maybe Modi's own government may differ with my opinion on Suresh Prabhu, but then factually I can prove that that budget was badly done. The Union Rail budget had nothing for people. I am saying it is just a status quo budget. It is just, okay, you did not add new train, you did not do anything big. But if you see from 2nd January to this, I criticize this budget. Rail budget has done nothing for social security, nothing for it. Only it has twinkled with the food items that you have choice for food and all. I have no views on rail budget being extraordinary. Let us see how it happens, because I am more concerned about the Union Finance Ministry budget, and I am going to give full marks to it, because to be very frank, it is Jaitley Saab's budget that will actually be enabling future of the railways as well in the infrastructure corridor. So in a nutshell, I would give 8 out of 10 to this budget, and I call this budget as a growth making budget, as a budget that looked at infrastructure in a big way, a budget that kept things open because it wants to further give something to the economy, and a budget that will lay a benchmark. And I would say 5 years from now, if Jaitley is able to add on in the next 4 years, he continues in this mode, and he continues and then goes forward to the development of the economy. I am sure that this budget would be seen as a landmark budget in the history of the Union of India, and kudos to the finance minister. I am saying I am the same man. Last budget I called it probably the worst budget in the history of India, but I am just turning myself turtle 360 degree, and I am coming and saluting the finance minister for exactly doing what the country needs, and exactly reversing some of the negatives of the past of the July budget. Because anyway, I don't want to give today I'm in retrospect, I would say that was the budget that was passed on from the previous, and I think some compulsions were there. So he went and walked out with the compulsion, made those mistakes, but this time there was no mistake. Believe me, the finance minister's budget will be seen as a benchmark or landmark budget in the history of the Union of India, and I will be proven right over a period of time. My media critics have gone, they want to pick holes, they want to waste their time in finding out something. They say, and then this, unfortunately I am also belong to middle class, but we should not have the middle class morality of thinking that only we will benefit. So it is a very wrong anti-national kind of a sentiment, because if you are a nationalist, even if you don't get anything from the budget, you must see the larger interest of the country. Is the larger interest of the country solved by this budget? Answer is yes. Has the infrastructure sector gained? Answer is yes. Has the black money been addressed? Answer is yes. We will detail those as we go along. But has the farmer got anything? I think the Prime Minister is fully committed to the Krishi Gram Sichai Yojana and other things, including following up. Unbelievable. The Manrega has been given more teeth, more spine, more money. So the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Program is on, and not only on, it is going full swing, and there is further additional budgets provision that is there. This is the most important thing that has been done. So the poor are taken care. And one very important thing, where in the world you will find an insurance deal for an individual at 12 rupees, my God. And then for the health and accident insurance, other things, another 330 rupees you pay, you get the entire insurance plan. So something like 4 lakhs worth of insurance deal is given at peanuts, 12 rupees for your life insurance, and for accident and health benefits you are given another 2 lakh. The poor on the street have been taken care of by this logic, right? And in fact, that poor means it's not just the urban poor, it's also the poor in the villages, all of them get. And where on earth you will see almost like roughly I think 4 crores houses in the rural economy and 2 crores in the urban economy, 6 crore houses. This country with 125 crore population, I had said in the past in Markenomy articles that we need 25 crores mass housing. So they have addressed approximately 6 crores in one budget. So 5 years they have taken the path that I have been talking about as Professor Iyer in Markenomy constantly on the housing sector, mass housing. The 25 crore houses will be taken care of, 6 crores per annum, 4 years. If they continue this, I tell you, 25 crores housing is coming. This is the real game changer, because we need not chat, not shelter, we need dwellings. And with that purpose, we started a venture called Eco Dwellings. The whole fundamental principles of giving poor people the houses, I'm saying they should also look at giving it at 5 lakhs urban housing and about 2.5-3 lakhs in rural for 360 square feet. That is the criterion. A 360 square feet dwelling where you have the toilets in every place, you have the proper kitchens, you've got a livable housing. It should not be just like Khana Purti. It should be good housing. So execution is the next step. But the budget has done the job. Giving the money, giving the direction. Full marks to it. So now somebody will ask me why you cut the 2 marks. Obviously, I told you this is a child which was in the house, and the child was in the house, had no electricity, food was given by mother, had no sleep because he had to study in absolutely candlelight or kerosene lamp light. So the situation of the finance minister was such. So the 2 marks he lost, not because I want to not give 2 marks, but he lost because he had very dire circumstances of the economy. And fiscal deficit has been taken care of. And the most important thing in the statement, I want to come to this fact, the direct tax proposals, where the proposals of indirect taxes total are going to yield 23,838 crores. And basically, if you see the direct tax proposal at 8,315 crores, and the proposal for indirect taxes are expected to give 23,383 crores. That's the statement. And the net impact of all tax proposals would be a revenue gain of 15,000. So definitely the budget is gaining in revenue, and that is how he is reducing the fiscal deficit, and he's put the target to bring it to 3.9% and progressively go towards the 3% target in the future. So budget itself is not losing money. Budget is gaining money. The union budget itself is not losing money, but we have a backlog of the past, and we need to slowly work towards reducing the fiscal deficit through adequate financial restructuring. Simple idea like defense, which is very critical area, make in India, we have to look at. I want to bring this, in the budget. As against a likely expenditure this year of 2,22,370 crores. Why likely? Because 31st March has not come. That was promised in the last budget. Look at the defense budget for 2015-16 has been increased to 2,46,727 crores. And we will have a massive defense indigenization program in the country. And this will provide massive jobs because the private sector participation in defense will increase. Already the FDI to the tune of 49% in defense was allowed, and in select cases where it's critical, where technology transfer will happen, 100% FDI is also allowed. So you see, attracting investment in defense for Make in India and combining it with Make in India will provide a very big indigenization role for India in defense, which is critical to make our national defense security go forward. And this also gives a big chance to engineers, technicians, intellectuals to join the defense and join the idea of providing technology and state-of-the-art system for the defense in the country. And I would say this will be clubbed with Make in India, and the plan is perfectly on the track. So this is great, so this is the type of example. And if you look at the overall this thing, some people have criticized that the budget is very large on non-plan expenditure and plan expenditure. This I have also criticized in the last budget. But when I see the structure of this budget, I want to change my position on that. That was my position for the last budget in July, which was an interim budget provided by the government. So I would say let's go forward from that. So there my criticism was definitely there for non-plan expenditure being very high because it had no direction. The budget had no specific direction. But this being the first maiden free budget of this government, because that was like taking the previous budget presented and then presenting at an interim and then passing it on. So it was like a UPA budget being just transferred into the country and just going forward with the work and the function of the government. But this was the full budget presented by the union government this time. In this full budget, the way the budget is laid out, the way it's an equitable and overall budget, it did not become populist. I am very happy that it is not a populist budget. Seeing that condition, this is fantastic because now what has happened? The non-planned estimates for the financial year are at 13,12,200 crores. And the planned expenditure in the estimated budget is 4,65,277 crores, which is very near to the RE of 2014, very right. The total expenditure therefore in the budget has been estimated 17,77,477 crores, and the required expenditure of defense, internal and other necessities are adequately provided. That's what this budget says. And if the budget supports that gross tax receipts are estimated at 14,49,490 crores, and devolution to the states are estimated at 5,23,958 crore. Share of central government will be 9,19,842 crores. Non-tax revenues for the next fiscal are estimated 2,21,732 crores. With the above, the statement says the fiscal deficit will be 3.9% of GDP and revenue deficit at 2.8% GDP. I think he's going fine. He is not increasing the fiscal deficit. He is providing, and I showed that there is a net positive effect on the collection. So when you add all these figures, the net sum tells you that the government is on the right track. The government has understood the problems of the economy. The government knows that it cannot go beyond a certain point, like उतने पैर फैलाइए जितनी चादर है, चादर के बाहर आप पैर नहीं फैला सकते. So this is the scene. So he has done a tight walking, but done a decent job. He did not do all those small. Last time it was like 70 crores per city for smart city and all. All that thing has gone out of this. They are focusing in a separate way for that. And the budget is very clear. It is not confusing. There is nothing to read in between line. Statements are clear. The ifs and buts are not there. They're clear that what they cannot do, they have not done. Like for example, there is a criticism on the corporate tax. They said corporate tax is reduced to 25% and that they have favored the corporate. No way. They have said it will be a 4-year path. They will go slowly in this. They will go towards that direction. Government is committed to reducing the load on the corporate sector. But this is the type of message that is clear, that it is not given on a platter. It is going to be taken over time. The corporates are also encouraged to perform. And remember, it's not only the Mr. Ambani and others who are going to benefit. It is going to be small and medium enterprises. Because today the definition is of small and medium enterprise clear, that people who have investments which are of meager level but in services sector, in other sectors, providing services to the economy, those people will benefit. Now somebody will say, okay, the service tax was increased to 14%, and that will load the economy. But I'm sorry, the service tax, when it is increased, the education has been subsumed in the service tax. So I think the net effect, if you see plus and minus of this, it will not have a major impact on the economy as such or the business as such. The MSMEs would slowly be looking forward. See, he's also said that within the next year will bring a common goods and service tax. Therefore, this is an interim period where that will be 14%. So when a common goods and service tax comes, you will have a common situation of taxation. And when it comes, this all will be much lower, because whether it's service tax or good tax, one single goods and service tax that will come into play. An interim period, the budgetary provisions need to look at the nitty-gritties and see if this loss is made somewhere, the gain is also made somewhere. Otherwise, there is no provision for the Indian economy. You need to provide for education, you need to provide for health, you need to provide for village economy, you need to provide for your infrastructure gain, you need to provide for renewable energy. All of that has been taken care of in this budget. So I will give, again I am saying, 8 out of 10 for this budget.
Okay, sir. So as you talked about farmers and poor people, now specifically there has been media criticism that the budget has not done much for the poor, the farmers and the disadvantaged. What is your take on this?
Like, see, you look at it, one of the things is, if you look at one side is, there is a Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. So the budget talks about JAM, Trinity, that is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile.
Yes.
Now if you see, mobile penetration is in the rural economy as well. Now the problem is rural economy needs electricity. So when you connect mobile towers in the rural economy in remote access, will not work without electricity. Today it is driven by diesel economy. So ultimately rural electrification, left of the 20,000 villages are going to be electrified in short time. That is clearly mentioned here. So that means the Rajiv Gandhi Gramin Vidyutikaran Yojana, whatever it had done, and 20,000 more villages were not done. Now they have changed the name to Pandit Deen Dayal. That's fine, no problem, because the government wants to do it. But they are committed that they will go to the 20,000 villages in short time and complete it, So that mission is going to be completed. So when you have rural electrification, obviously you will fire the rural towers without diesel. So I would say the government must look at the nitty-gritty. It is not the job of Mr. Jaitley now. It is the job of the MNRE and the ministry concerned to ensure that telecom towers in remote area are run by solar and other renewables. Now there is a big pitch of solar. We said 100 gigawatt solar the Pradhan Mantri wants. Why not make another 20 gigawatt for rural economy? Give a one-time investment to the rural economy, decentralized solar, off-grid, so that they can fire their systems. They can run their entire system with rural and bioenergy and such hybrids. So that, and this one-time investment, even if it is given one time, that one time is only one time free. It is not free forever. So they will get at least 6 to 7 hours of electricity, in which period they can charge their mobile. So if they look a little bit inside in this, there is a lot of unmentioned things in the budget. So it is integration between different ministries. The budget has given provision, but now it is for the concerned ministry to ensure that that is implemented. So this all will not happen overnight. This will take at least 1 year to fructify. But the path has to be laid today. And this is not 1 year. This government is there for 5 years. Good, bad or ugly, we have to work with it. Criticism, we have to do constructive criticism. We should not say yes to this government. मोदी साहब से हर बात पे हाँ नहीं मिलाना है. लेकिन जब वो अच्छा कर रहे हैं, जब उनके लोग अच्छा कर रहे हैं, उनकी पीठ थपथपाना भी हमारी जरूरत है. If we are true nationalists, we will do it. We will not always criticize the government. So this is the time. A budget is a difficult task. Finance minister's task is thankless job. And I am saying for the first time it has happened. And this is given, and not only that, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, they are given adequate provision for that. Electrification by 2020 or remaining, this is in the point number 15 of the Union Budget speech. Serial number 15 of the Union Budget speech, I am reading as it is, right? Yes. It says the year 2020 will be Amrut Mahotsav, 75th year of India's independence. So they want to celebrate it. Prime Minister has called Team India led by states. Watch the statement. Team India led by states. He does not say by centre. Yeah. The pitch is clear and guided by the central government should include roof for each family in India. The call given for housing for all by 2020 would require Team India to complete 2 crore houses in urban and 4 crore in rural, which I told in the past. Just some time back I told you 6 crore rural houses. This is started in this budget. If 4 budgets are there, 25 crore houses come. That is what we have to think. And we should ensure that they implement this. And have they and any previous budget addressed this? No. First time in the history of India. The next point in this says each house in the country should have basic facility, 24-hour power supply, clean drinking water, toilet, and be connected to road. It may be a matter of fact statement, but this is supporting the build-up of these 2 crore houses. So they are not building shelters. They are going towards dwellings. So they have clearly earmarked and ideated this in the budget. At least one member from each family should have access to the means for livelihood and employment or economic opportunity to improve. We must see this pitch. That means the Manrega, 100 days minimum employment will be connected with this. They are not explicit, but somewhere else they have mentioned Manrega. So we must give trust of the government that they will connect this with the employment guarantee. Obviously it is connected. Where it is divorced. So it is very clear that they have talked about this. Substantial reduction of poverty. All our schemes should focus on center and around the poor. The budget says it's for the poor. They are focusing on the poor because obviously first 2 statements tell you that they are focusing on the poor because mass housing is not for the rich, it is for the poor, right? Each of us to have commit ourselves to this task. They had said elimination of poverty. Then they said electrification by 2020 of the remaining 20,000 villages in the country, including by off-grid solar power generation. What I said, exactly the budget has said. I am not making my statement. This was our recommendation from Renewable Energy Promotion Association. I am the president of this association as well. So I recommended this to the government. So have they not implemented this idea? They have. Right? And we were fighting for this for the last 9 months. How this has come to the budget. And we were not sitting, I have not done any interview of the Prime Minister of the country. I have not been seen with him. Okay, when he was in Gujarat, he must have given some messages to us in our magazine. That's all. Otherwise, I have neither met this Prime Minister, never I have been close to him. But a recommendation by an organization of our type, where they know that what we are doing. Prime Minister takes from such organization and he implements. And Jaitley Saab comes up in his budget with this. Thanks. Great. They are listening to the people's criticism. Constructive criticism is what they are listening to. If you just criticize for the sake of it, I don't think anybody will be serious with your criticism. You must balance your criticism. Connecting each of the 178,000 unconnected habitation by all weather roads. Look at this. Is it not village roads? And it clearly specifies further that completing 1 lakh kilometer of roads currently under construction plus sanctioning and building another 1 lakh kilometer of road. So is this road for common people? It is, yes, it is village road, it is urban road, it is semi-urban road, rural roads, connecting each of the 1,78,000 habitations, they say. It is very clear when they say habitations. If 70% of India, we say, is living in the rural economy, then obviously this is going to benefit them. So are we so foolish that we don't see? We just don't read? And we just talk about and go on blasting the budget that it does not provide anything for poor? This is evidence. This is clear evidence inside the statement of the budget. Now further, good health is necessary for both quality life and person's productivity, ability to support his or her family, it says. Providing medical services in each village and city is absolutely essential. This statement, have they done it? Then they are making a statement, that means they will go forward with doing that. Right? Educating the skill and skilling our youth to enable them to get employment is the altar before which we must all bow, they say. And then it makes it senior secondary school within 5 km for each child, we need to upgrade over 80,000 secondary schools and add and upgrade another 75,000 junior and middle school and to the senior secondary level. So this is educating the very, very absolutely common, poor, middle class India only. It is not for the rich. These schools are not for the rich. This is for the poor. So this is the statement. 2/3 of our population below 35. To ensure that our young get proper jobs, we have to make India manufacturing hub of the world. Budget says clearly. It has come back with the statement. Skill India and Make in India programs are aimed at doing this. Obviously, this was already decided before the budget. It will continue after the budget. So, budget need not specifically put something in. So, it is clear statement. It is already made. Now, the budget is also clear. I want to clear the pragmatism of this union budget of what it is talking about. Major challenges ahead, they said. Firstly, agriculture incomes are under stress. Our second challenge is increasing investment in infrastructure with private investment in infrastructure via public-private participation model. Still weak. Public investment needs to step up to catalyze investment. Now 70,000 crores of public investment is already planned in the budget, elsewhere they have written. So this statement is made and the solution is given in the budget. Next it says 18% to 17% GDP. As per our new data, manufacturing has declined to 18 to 17% of the GDP and manufacturing export has remained stagnant about 10% GDP. So Make in India program is aimed at meeting this challenge, just creating jobs. Obviously, so therefore they will connect Make in India with manufacturing sector. It's very clear. It is a matter of fact, the statement. We need to be mindful of the need for fiscal discipline. True spirit of cooperative federalism, they have talked about. They said we have devolved a 42% share of divisible tax pool to the states. I was talking about this some time back. That 42% of divisible tax pool goes directly to states. First time in the history of India. Then they said the devolution to state will be in the order of 5.254 lakh crores in 2015-16 against 3.38 lakh crores as revised estimate of 2014-15. That means massive, roughly 2 lakh crores plus. They are roughly close to 2 lakh crores additional they have devolved to the state. That's the kind of liquidity that is provided to state governments. Now state governments must deliver. Center has provided the kitty. In federalism they said you spend and you develop your states. Right? Now another 3.04 lakh crore would be transferred by way of grants. That means effectively roughly 5 lakh crores additional budget has been given to the state. It is a historic thing. It's a historic thing that has happened. Thus the total transfer to the states will be in the tune of 62% of total tax revenue of the country. Path breaking I tell you, path breaking step. This is cooperative and competitive federalism. They talked and they walked the talk in the budget now. Right? They also say government has decided to continue supporting important national priorities such as agriculture, education, health, Manrega, rural infrastructure, programs targeted for poor and underprivileged will be continued by us. So where are they affecting the poor? All that is there, they are saying will continue. So why, I do not know why people are saying there is nothing for the poor. Everything is for the poor only here in the budget. Then fifth challenge is maintaining fiscal deficit. That is definitely there because foreign investors will look at your fiscal deficit. So of course I don't believe in it. When you invest in infrastructure, you should not too much look into fiscal deficits. But yes, the finance minister is serious. He says, I want to practice discipline. So give some marks to him. So let's not try to challenge him. Let us allow him to work on that. So economic growth this year was 11.1 lower terms by about 2% due to inflation, he said. Consequently, tax buoyancy was down and fiscal deficit target of I have kept my word and we will meet the challenge of 4.1% of GDP. He says, and next year it is 3.9 and they want to move slowly towards the 3% fiscal deficit target. I think it's fine. And if they take instead of 2 years, 3 years for that, I think give them that 1 year is fine. The 11 year. See, we waited for 15 years to wake up this economy. We had a government which was in policy paralysis for 5 years. So after that we are seeing. So the backlog is also there. Nobody can deny it. So there is a fiscal roadmap which is clear. It said, I want to underscore that my government will still remain firm on achieving medium-term target of 3% of GDP in fiscal deficit. The total additional public investment over and above the RE is planned to be 1.25 lakh crore, out of which 70,000 crores would be capital expenditure from budgetary outlays. So this is clearly driving the Indian economy through infrastructure and growth. So because the private companies were not able to provide for this, public investment will come into the fore. The government is ready to spend for infrastructure, so why we are blaming them? Allow them to build the infrastructure. The key Indian economy is going to be driven by energy and infrastructure. We'll come to the next point. I know that you will be asking me this question, but then I am very clear that this statement is clearly diverting towards that. The underlying spirit is 70. So government's own spending is 70,000 crores, and they will go up to 1.25 lakh crores provision. That means they are going to look at a very large figure or spend, and they are committed to it. And then also they are saying we will balance fiscal deficit, and they are clear that there are uncertainty of GST, that is goods and service tax. So this 70,000 crores is fine, but they have kept some money with them, so that if the states have a problem with implementing GST as they go along with the common goods and service tax, will be path-breaking thing for the economy. They have kept a buffer so that they can provide for that also. So as I go along, more and more I read this budget. I'm becoming a fan of this budget, but I still don't want to be a guy who just gives the marks. I'm giving 8 out of 10. 8 is a very good score. As I told you again, this is like a budget presented in the worst crisis. As I told you, Finance Minister has done a good job. I think India must pat his back. Right? So I can go on and on. There are a lot of things like this that are there, like Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sinchai Yojana is aimed to irrigate the field for every farmer, improving use of efficiency. Per drop, they said per drop, more crop. That is what they are looking at. So efficiency in the village economy and agriculture. 5,300 crore to support micro irrigation, right? Watershed development, and Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. It is given. This is for farm sector. I propose to allocate 25,000 crores in 2015 to Corpus of Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. So this is for rural RIDP. It is 25,000 crores, massive, set up in NABARD. 15,000 crores for long-term rural credit. It is not small money. 45,000 crores for short-term cooperative rural credit refinance fund. My God, 15,000 crores for short-term RRB refinance fund. So all this is going to rural economy, right? Farm credit. It says that set up an ambition target of 8.5 lakh crores of credit during the year 2000, which I'm sure banks will surpass. So they have given the target to bank to give to rural credit. So banks will lend to rural credit 8.5 lakh crores. So that is what we have to see. Our government is committed to the idea of Manrega. They again say that. They say I have made an initial allocation of 34,699 crores for programs under the Manrega. So this is massive outlay for Manrega, 35,000 crores, which government in the past government started the Manrega, but this is the highest allocation, right? Then it also says, I intend this year to work with the states in NITI for creation of a unified national agricultural market. The moment this unified national agricultural market is created, the farmer will get better, I would say, better rates for his produce. So, and the market will be there, and the intermediates will go on. Middlemen would be taken care of. So this is a direction towards eliminating of middlemen, which was one of my criticisms whenever I wrote to the Prime Minister, that why the tomatoes and onions are costing more. So all this is there. So there are a lot of things in the budget which people must read, not in between the lines, but exactly the lines of the budget. So you should not create, we should not, this is not like a Don Quixote model, where we just start imagining some kind of, something is there, something is going to be, something is hidden in this budget. There is nothing hidden, there is all written in the statements of the budget. Then about the MSMEs, working capital requirement of MSME, they want to start a trade receivable discounting system. So they have taken care of the MSME issues also. And they said that there are 5.77 lakh crore small business unit, mostly individual proprietorship, which is run by small manufacturing, trading or services business. 62% of these are owned by scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC. Very, very correct. And they say micro units development refinance agency Mudra Bank with a corpus of 20,000 crores and credit guarantee corpus 3,000 crores. Mudra Bank will refinance microfinance through a Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. So now why the MSME will not benefit? And obviously if it is going to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and the I would say the population which is actually suffering because nobody offers credit to them, then I think we should give all the marks to them. We should not keep challenging these issues. Maybe it's the beginning, and the other MSMEs are already taken care of by SIDBIs and other institutions. So they will pressurize SIDBI also over a period of time, because the finance minister was very clear that this is not the end. The budget is a statement, matter of fact. There is a lot of things which can be done away from the budget also. So beginning is supporting the poorest of the poor and the downtrodden, and then starts giving to the common fellows also and common middle class also. So I think we should be very clear that the budget has taken care of everybody. The budget has not left even one stone unturned. I have given you examples throughout and throughout. The budget is taking care of everybody. Then look at this. Pradhan Mantri, which I talked about, the poor, you say, this is in point number 39, from the Jan Dhan to Jan Suraksha idea, 39 point of the speech. Soon to be launched Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana will cover accidental death insurance of 2 lakh for a premium of just 12 rupees per year. I told you this is almost like life insurance for accident insurance. Where on earth and which country is giving this? This is the first country to do it. Similarly, we will also launch the Atal Pension Yojana, which will provide a defined pension depending on the contribution ends period. And they say we will contribute 50% of the beneficiaries' premium limited to 1,000 per year. That means 1,000 rupees government will put, you will put 1,000 and you will get 2,000 rupees in that, right? And your Bima is taken care of. Further, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, which covers both natural and accidental death risks of another 2 lakhs. The premium will be only 330 per year. So I am saying this effectively is 4 lakhs worth of insurance given to the very poor people. What is the amount? 330 plus 12. Where on earth you will get for a year this kind of insurance deal, and that too supported by the government at and this is less than 1 rupee per day, and there is barely 1 rupee per month. That is 1 rupee per month for accidental death cover, and for this comprehensive natural and accidental death cover, death risk cover, another 2 lakhs. 330 per year is 1 rupee per year per day, or even less than rupee for the age group of 18 to 50. Covered a massive age group from the teenager 18 to 50. That is the period of risk for an individual. So it is covered, and later on your pension schemes and all will take care of your stuff. So I think this is unfair to talk. I will also put one last point in this whole segment because I have gone long in this. You want to ask me the next question, but let us look at it. Despite serious constraint on urban finances allocation made this year as follows. For the scheduled caste, 30,851 crores. Scheduled tribe, 19,980 crore, and women, 79,258 crore. My God. So they continue, And for the minority, they say we have the Nai Manzil program, which will be launched this year to enable minority youth who do not have formal education and formal school leaving certificate to obtain one and find better employment. Further, to showcase civilizing culture of the Parsis, the government will support an exhibition of the Parsis. So minorities taken care of. The everlasting flame, that is the exhibition they are going to support for the Parsis. We also know Parsi community is dwindling. So people which previous government has taken care of this issue. So minorities means the Hindus are the majority. The minority are Muslims, Christians, and even Jains and others, and everybody come into the minorities basically, right? So the minorities are taken care of the Nai Manzil program, and also the Parsis are taken, and the Ministry of Minority the allocation for Ministry of Minority is being protected, they say. The RE for the year 2000 is 3,738 crores, substantial. So why we are calling this budget that it is not for anybody? And this very clear. Further, the statement said, I would say 46 statement it says infrastructure. In fact, all told, investment in infrastructure will go up by 70,000 crores in the year 2000, over the year 2014. That means an additional 70,000 crores of corpus have been provided in addition to the previous year's corpus. So, I don't know who is complaining. I do not know which are those complaining Thomases and the predictors of dooms who do not understand that this budget has everything in black and white in the statement of the finance minister. That is the budget 2015 statement that is there. I am reading out of the budget. I am not reading from my own side. So funny. I could not understand what happened to this media. Media says experts gave 8.5 points. Forget experts gave. You only have to give. You have to read it out. Most of my media friends must now, instead of being fence-sitters, come forward and appreciate what has been done in the country for once. Go and criticize when the government is not doing. But when the government is doing, please go and accept it. Please at least give them a pack when they do the job. Otherwise, you are not considered to be fair and neutral. You are not considered to be person or I would say organization, individuals, media, or you will not be fair. You will be only whipping yourself and will be crying later for doing this. So, for God's sake, don't go out of what is written. For the first time in the history of India, our finance minister has attempted to give a complete black and white without hiding a clear budgetary statement. So, again I say, I am happy with this budget.
So, sir, I would like you to throw some light on the key to India's progress in energy, power and infrastructure. Has the budget done enough to fast track growth in this arena? Very good question. I was just going towards that whole thing. There is a title called infrastructure. It starts from point number 46, right? So if we cover all this, it will be very interesting, So what it says,
In the point number 46 say increase outlays in both roads and gross budgetary support to railways by 14,000 crores. So what the railway could not do, the union budget has attempted to help the railways. So the railway budget did not do justice to itself. So this one is giving the outlay 14,000 crores and 10,000 crores respectively. That means for both roads, that means the increased outlay on both roads and the gross budgetary support to railways by 14,000 crores and 10,000 crores respectively. That means for roads it is 14,000 crores, for railways it is 10,000 crores. That's what I read. The capex of the public sector is expected to be 3,17,889 crores, an increase of approximately 80,440 over RE 2014-15. In fact, all told investment in infrastructure will go up by 70,000 crores. I am repeating what I said before. Over the year of the 2004 Centers Fund and resources of the central public sector enterprises. That means pooling of resources from CPSEs and the government itself, they will add another 70,000 crores towards this spend. So this is what is very important, that this is a growth budget. It is going to focus on infrastructure. The budget is kick-starting the flow into infrastructure sector, and this we cannot look at foreign economy or outside forces giving us money. It has to be from internal accruals. Budget has provided for that. It is started. When the government of India itself increases spend, predominantly we are seeing that external forces also come and pull in, because if the government is positive on an area, obviously the world will be positive on this. So I think this is the right step. Next, secondly, National Investment and Infrastructure Fund is created. Find monies to ensure an inflow of 20,000 crores into it. This will enable trust to raise debt and in turn invest in equity in infrastructure finance companies such as IRFC and NHP. So they have done the job. Then they say they will have an innovation. People said there is no focus on R&D, no money given. So there is an Atal Innovation Mission, AIM, underneath it. They say innovation platform, innovation promotion program involving academics, entrepreneurs, researchers, and draw upon national and international experiences to foster a culture of innovation, R&D and scientific research in India. The platform will also promote a network of world-class innovation hubs and grand challenges in India. Initially, a sum of 150 crores will be earmarked for this purpose. It may be a small start, but a beginning, the idea is sown, the seed is sown, right? So give the full mark. Then they said Setu, that is self-employment and talent utilization, will be a techno-financial incubation facility program to support all aspects of startup businesses and other self-employed activities, particularly in technology-driven areas. And I am setting aside 1,000 crores under Niti Aayog for this purpose. Very clear. They are allowing this to happen, right? So this is all under the subhead of infrastructure. Then comes ease of doing business in India. They said large amount of time and resources on getting multiple permissions is required. 52 point, right? Then they want to increase the ease of business. So launch of the e-business portal, which integrate 14 regulatory permission and one score, which is already done by the government at the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Good states are embracing and joining this platform. However, if we really want to create jobs, we have to make India an investment destination which permits the start of a business in accordance with publicly stated guidelines and criteria. Now all this they want to send to the internet, and the one window clearance model will come into picture. It's very clearly intention the government is given in this, right? Now they say in the 54 points, very interesting, 5 new ultra mega power projects, each of 4,000 megawatt in the plug and play mode. When you say plug and play mode, that means all clearances will be taken care of. They have to just start the project construction. So this is first time clarity. Plug and play is a very good idea, because earlier land acquisition and everywhere people suffered. Environment clearance, multiple clearance, state and center, all these projects used to get stuck up. So 20,000 megawatt is a good start. But I would have been happy if they had understood that in the previous regime, only 2 projects came, that is Tata Mundra and Sasan Ultra Mega project of the Reliance. Only 2 projects have taken shape. The rest of the projects were hanging fire. So I would have at least looked at maybe another 2 or 3 projects, but let us give them a chance. Maybe the next budget they will announce another 4 or 5 Ultra Mega. So I don't want to criticize them on this, but whatever marks the finance minister has lost is little bit on these accounts, So I would say fine, no problem with this. Then just say if I am successful, then over and above the budgetary, look at this point. If I am successful, some additional resources are required for the tax buoyancy. He says some additional resources during the year from tax buoyancies can come. So if I am successful, then over and above the budgetary allocation, I will endeavour to enhance allocation to Manrega by 5,000 crores, integrated child development scheme by 1500 crores, integrated child protection scheme by 500 crores, and Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana by 3000 crores, and the initial inflow of 5000 crores into the NIIF. You tell me why this is not committing to rural infrastructure and development of even the poorest of the poor. So infrastructure is not going to be urban growth. It will also look at the rural. So I think overall it's a fine budget, and as I told you about energy and power, the Prime Minister is clearly committed to the entire mission, and in this budget speaking about, in another statement it speaks about 100 gigawatt of solar, 60 gigawatt of wind, 5,000 megawatt of small hydro project, and another 5,000 megawatt, about 1,75,000 megawatt of new and renewable energy is what is committed, and leading among the pack is 100 gigawatt of solar and 60 gigawatt of wind. So it's massive development, and budgetary outlays is provided for that. So this is most important, because in our previous regime the national solar mission was only 20 gigawatt and there was nothing about the other missions, nobody talked about. So this is upping the ante, and we at REPA had recommended a minimum of 60 gigawatt. Prime Minister gone forward and committed to 100 gigawatt, and the budget is also provided for that. So I think this is for energy, power, infrastructure, this is an absolutely brilliant budget. It takes the country forward. You know, the massive plan in 20 gigawatt here, and renewable energy 175 gigawatt. If you see, already the commitment for about 200 odd gigawatt is done, and we must know that currently the country is having 258 gigawatt of installed capacity, of which we are only utilizing 150 gigawatt. Our utilization has to increase, plus this 200 gigawatt of plan in one single budget. Record, I tell you, record.
So sir, what about the middle class? Middle class on the face of it seems to have been given a passe in the budget document. Is this true?
I don't think so. See what is happening to our middle class. We want this slab to be raised to 5 lakh. Even I was wanting that. But for a minute, I was wanting, it is my wish. But when I look at the whole budget, I will say even my wish is not granted, it is fine. Because it does not matter. Because the government, the minister is very clear. He has given a lot of, I would say, ideation for people to take advantage. Like almost like 4,40,000 crores, 4,40,000 worth of benefits are there in the budget, as he has already highlighted. I will say that, while the tax limits and slabs remain the same, the budget has given enough chance for people to invest. They can invest in various insurance instruments. Yeah, I get it here. This is the point number 129 of the statement of the finance minister, right? And this point number 179 reads like this: that the increase in the limit of deduction in respect of health insurance premium has been done from 15,000 to 25,000. Then there is for the senior citizen, from that the limit is increased to 30,000 from existing 20,000. Next it says for people with 80 years or more who are not covered by health insurance, deduction of 30,000 towards expenditure incurred on their treatment will be allowed. Then deduction of limit of 60,000 towards expenditure on account of specified diseases of various nature is proposed to enhance to 80,000 in the case of very senior citizen. Now further it says additional deduction of 25,000 will be allowed for differently abled persons under section 80DD. That means physically challenged persons are taken care of. And section 80U of the Income Tax Act. Then it says pension fund and the new pension scheme is supposed to increase from 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh. They have increased this to provide social safety net and facility pension of individuals. An additional deduction of 50,000 is proposed to be provided for contribution to new pension scheme under section 80DD. This will enable India to become a pensioned society instead of a pensionless society. So social security part is addressed here, right? Investment on Sukanya Samriddhi scheme is already eligible for deduction under section 80cc. It's not. Transport allowance exemption for the individual is made from 800 to 600. It is increased to 600 per month. So you can claim all this, right? And to benefit the senior citizen, service tax exemption will be provided to Varisht Bima Yojana. All of this together. Then in point 130, the finance minister makes a clear pitch. He says, taking into account the tax concession given to middle class taxpayers in my last budget and this budget, today an individual taxpayer will get tax benefit of 4,44,200 as detailed in the annexure. So obviously if he is saying go to that and find, so what happens? The Prime Minister and the Finance Minister, what they have done, they are encouraging savings through pension. They are trying to ask you to invest in social security scheme and you claim the rebate. So instead of 5 lakh, 440 to 4,200 indirect way they have provided this benefit. Now we must go to a proper chartered accountant and tell him how do we invest. So why we are going and crying that we don't have money in our hand? We should do savings. Why he is doing this? If you use everything and spend and kharcha pani is going away, everything is spent and everything is blown off, you will never be saving for a great time. Also, country must get into the habit of saving. Otherwise, how will the government invest into infrastructure and other areas? So it is a very good win-win situation. He is giving you a chance to save and save, right? By making saving, you don't pay the tax, right? Instead of directly giving you already 2.5 lakh rupees, up to 2.5 lakh rupees, you have some exemptions, right? Plus these benefits you use, you can go up to 4 lakh 40. So indirectly, he has brought you up to 5 lakh, no taxation, right? So how the individual can cry on this? The individual should go and make an investment. He should consult a good tax chartered accountant and do investment planning from the beginning of the year, and all this money will be belonging to that individual only. So I do not know why the middle class has to cry. The middle class has to go and look, and middle class is not poor. Middle class is neither rich nor poor. It is capable of earning for itself. So why always we keep crying on spilt milk and all that? Which spilt milk? Forget the past. Look at what is there in the budget. Go to a proper advisor, tax consultant, and do your job. And at a nominal expense, you can get your result. If you don't understand the budget, please go to a tax consultant. Because when the Prime Minister makes a statement that today an individual taxpayer will get tax benefit of 4,44,200 as detailed in annexure, I think it will be stupid not to read this sentence, not to read the annexure, and if we have no brains to even understand that, no problem. Go to a tax consultant, chartered accountant, he will tell you how to do this. So you can't take this little step. We are so lazy that we just want to say, nahi, ye to kaha diya hai, directly dena chahiye. So this type of argument will not cut ice. I think this is a very wrong statement to say middle class has not got anything. Middle class has got a lot of things. This statement which I read out clearly proves to you that it is benefiting the middle class. So if not directly, it is indirect, but then take the benefit. Go and do it. Do saving. If you save, the country will become rich. That is what my view is.
Why such ideas like Swachh Bharat cess? Don't you think more and more cess will create cesspools for the economy? Removing cess in education and bringing cess in Swachh Bharat simply neutralizes the cost. Your views, sir?
Yeah, I really, on this statement, I have a point. I think this is why the 2 marks must have gone. From my side, 8 marks have come. So you removed the education cess, and I said in the past in this interview, supporting that service tax increase and subsumption, or this entire education cess was subsumed in the service tax. But then behind the door, you bring the Swachh Bharat cess. So good, the statement is very clear. It says an additional sum of rupees 40,000 made available to measure these sectors. That says, and the cess is clear. The Swachh Bharat cess they have not levied. They say they are planning to levy. So I would request the minister, honorable minister, to kindly go into it and let us not go to a Swachh Bharat cess. If possible, we should avoid this, because additional cesses only burden the economy. There are many other ways, and I hope the minister is looking at, or only a short-term way of looking at this cess, because long-term such cess do not benefit, because when you come to a GST regime, there must be no additional cesses. There must be just one common goods and service tax, single tax regime. The country must not have any additional cess. Okay, renewable energy you can cess, I can understand, but then again Swachh Bharat cess, no point. So like they are collecting cess about 100 rupees per metric tons of coal from 50 rupees for renewable energy. That is a good idea. You are taxing the carbon footprint of the country. That is fine. I would say make a cess on gas. Not exactly gas, make a cess on coal. Make a cess on other unclean fuels. Not exactly gas. Gas I don't think we should put a cess, but definitely I would say put a cess on all that is carbon. That 100 rupees, you have increased the cess to 100 rupees, already 10,000 crores worth of money will come into your pool per annum, roughly. That is the figure. It may increase to 12,000 crores. So you're getting from that source. So why do you want to touch into this Swachh Bharat mission? Swachh Bharat mission, let it be the way Prime Minister is leading it. Connect it with area of building of toilet, through CSR activity, through, ask corporates to, maybe we can sound out the corporates that minimum certain quantum of the CSR activity must be towards this Swachh Bharat campaign. So that kind of dictum you can bring and avoid this cesspool. That is my view. So I think this is a grey area, and this is a good question of yours. This grey area must be addressed by the finance minister and also the prime minister, because it is his scheme. So I think he should not burden the country with a Swachh Bharat cess. It is not required, right? Instead of that, you catch hold of the CSR activity in the corporate sector and make a minimum commitment to the prime minister's mission, in which you give some kind of don't give any additional tax concession, but probably exempt all that activity from taxation and give some encouragement in another way. Find innovative methods of bringing the CSR investments both from the public sector enterprises and the corporate sector into creating the Swachh Bharat mission or making it a success. Don't create cess for that.
Okay, sir. Has the maiden Jaitley budget addressed black money issues adequately? How do you see curbing of black money in Indian economy and the budget?
This is probably the first budget in the history of India which goes and talks about the black money issues, and I am coming to that. Let us go at 107. Statement in the budget, the statement of the finance minister in the budgetary statement, which says budget 2000, speech of Arun Jaitley, Minister of Finance, February 20, 2015, and this statement, point number 107, which deals with key features of the proposed new law on black money. Concealment of income and assets, evasion of tax in relation to foreign assets will be prosecutable with punishment of rigorous imprisonment up to 10 years. Very clear. Further it says this offence will be made non-compoundable and offenders will not be permitted to approach the settlement commission. So there is no way to escape. Penalty for such concealment of income and assets will be taxed at the rate of 300% of the tax shall be levied. It's clear. Both penalty will be levied and rigorous imprisonment will come, and it is unnegotiable. Very, very good. Then non-filing of return or filing of return with inadequate disclosure of foreign assets will be liable for prosecution with punishment of rigorous imprisonment up to 7 years. Tough on the black money. See, income in relation of any undisclosed foreign asset or undisclosed foreign income or any asset will be taxable at the maximum marginal rate. Exemption or deduction which may otherwise be applicable in such cases shall not be applied or allowed. Right? This point number 3 under the 107. 107 sub point 3. Then 4, sub point 4, beneficial owner or beneficiary of foreign asset will be mandatorily required to file return even if there is no taxable income. So they will catch hold of everybody who is trying to conceal income. So black money offenders are under duress right now. Okay. Further, abettors of above offences, that means not only them, those who help in this, whether it is a chartered accountant, whether it is a financial tax consultant, who help these people, that is abettors of above, whether individuals, entities, banks or financial institutions, they are very clear, will be liable for prosecution penalty. That means not only the fellow who is doing the crime, the fellow who are abetting in this crime, which is wide diaspora, that is entities, individuals, banks, financial institutions, will also be taken to task. The offence of concealment of income or evasion of tax in relation to a foreign asset will be made a predicate offence under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. PMLA के under इसके तहत आएगा ये. So this is very clear that they are going to go after them. This provision would enable the enforcement agency to attach and confiscate unaccounted assets held abroad, not only in India. They will catch hold of the foreign assets that you are holding and bring them under the jurisdiction and launch prosecution against persons indulging in money laundering or making black money. What else we need? There are a lot of other statements. The Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, that is FEMA, is also being amended to this effect, so that if any foreign exchange, foreign security or any immovable property situated outside India is held in contravention to the provisions of this act, then action may be taken for seizure and eventual confiscation of the assets of equal value situated in India. That means not only that asset will be under duress, even what you possess in India will be locked by the government. आप चोरी करेंगे तो आप बराबर आपको सब तरह से पकड़ा जाएगा, ये बताया जा रहा है. These contraventions are also being made liable for levy of penalty and permissions and prosecution with punishment of imprisonment up to another 5 years. So effectively there are different provisions, 10 years, 7 years, 5 years. So I think this time they have tightened the noose around the black money guys. Now comes local black money, because I have always been of the opinion that more than the money abroad, huge amount of parallel economy is going on in India, and this size could be anywhere between 7% to 7 times to 10 times of current income. That means India's $2 trillion GDP is actually $8 to $10 trillion, and roughly about between that period of 7 to, I would say, $6 to $8 trillion of GDP is hidden with black money, local black money generated. This is big, this is much bigger than anything else. So let us look at that. As regards curbing black money, this is point number 108, I am reading out. As regards curbing domestic black money, a new and more comprehensive Benami Transaction Prohibition Bill will be introduced in the current session of the Parliament. Now it is for the Parliament to ensure that this bill passes. Right? That means both the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha has to pass the bill. It is not the duty of the Finance Minister. Finance Minister has shown the intent to do this now. Now our country, our Parliament is supposed to stand up. If other parties don't stand up, they will be exposed. Right? The law will enable confiscation of Benami property and provide for prosecution, thus blocking a major avenue for generation holding of black money in the form of Benami property, especially in the real estate. Absolutely, he has caught hold of the real estate sector because there is the black money generation, and that is increasing the price of our assets for no reason. Right? The Finance Bill introduces a proposal to amend the Income Tax Act to prohibit acceptance or payment of an advance of 20,000 or more in cash for purchase of immovable property. Obviously, when this is not allowed, nobody will be able to pay cash for immovable property. Obviously, it is going to be caught. Quoting of PAN is being mandatory for any purchase or sale exceeding the value of 1 lakh. If you do any purchase or sale of more than 1 lakh asset, you have to quote your PAN. Obviously, you can track which account you have deposited. Then you cannot, if you have deposited cash, your PAN will take you to the black money trail. Right? It's very clear. So they have taken steps. Then promotion of domestic manufacturing and make in India and all that is coming in. And investment pass through, all that I am not talking about. Lot of money, the real estate infrastructure trust and the InvITs have also been done. So what they are doing, on one side they are locking the black money, on the other side they are giving to real investors a chance to invest in the economy. Right? Alternate investment funds have come into picture. Real estate infrastructure trust and infrastructure investment trust. Both of them are given more teeth. Right? And all this is going to help us in the long run. So while we curb all this, I also told you that, and I also read out from this, that about 4 lakh rural houses are going to come under mass housing scheme. Sorry, 4 crore. 4 crores to be sorry to say that. 4 crore rural houses are coming. 2 crore urban houses are coming. Right in this budget, the allocation is done. Right? This will also ensure that people who are pricing their property at very high rates will have to come down. So it will also trigger a rate cut or a competitive rate cut in the property market. So houses will be available cheap. So is this not good news for the people of India? So this impact will be seen, according to me, people are saying 8-9 months. But I think in 6 months you will see the impact of this budget, and it will be, before we reach the next budget, you will already see the economy turning around.
As aforementioned about the MSMEs, the MSMEs contribute 85% of the private sector contribution to GDP.
Right.
Does this budget address easy finance access to MSME sector?
See, there is a broad outlay in the budget. It is not the job of the finance minister to move towards the MSME. But I read out all those provisions. I also talked about their receipts going electronically and they getting payment. But the real problem is with the banks, and the banks are under the RBI. Now, the RBI must actually loosen out. See, mortgaging of assets. Any bank you go, they say you mortgage your asset. After mortgaging your asset, they dilute your asset. If your asset is, let's say 100 rupees, they will say it is only worth 50 rupees. And then they take over your asset and then give you a loan which is only 50% of the value of the asset. And then they also don't give any provision in that, you can come next year if your asset valuation goes up, I'll give you another let's say 100 rupees में और एक 10 रुपए दे दूंगा अगले साल और 10 रुपए अगले साल दे दूंगा and all that. They are not doing that. So this is the problem of our banking sector. So who will curtail? It comes under the Ministry of Finance, the banking, but under the Ministry of comes the RBI. So I am saying the RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan must loosen the grip on giving to small and medium enterprises. It is the job of the RBI Governor and the Reserve Bank of India to have a new monetizing policy for MSMEs, to support the MSME. MSMEs are struggling, I tell you. And it is the job of SIDBIs and other, I would say, regular banks and even cooperative banks to look at easier MSME loans, easier stuff for the MSMEs. But I think it is not only the duty of the finance minister. It is duty of all the CEOs and the chairman of the banks and the Reserve Bank of India to look and delve into this and make what the finance minister is doing in the budget to make it a reality. Plus, I will say the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises is the major leader in this. That ministry must take advantage of the pitch of the finance minister, and it is the duty of those two, our ministers over there, to fight and take this away to support the micro, small and medium enterprises. So there is work in progress. This work in progress is not only of the finance ministry. Finance ministry is allocated. Basically, it is an income and expenditure statement, and this is also a policy direction that has been given. But then to implement that, the concerned ministry must take the action. And I feel it must not be left to the finance minister to do this. And we should not be heavily critical of the finance minister on this. He cannot move the MSMEs. He cannot move the Reserve Bank of India. They are independent institutions. Reserve Bank of India should be represented by the micro, small and medium enterprise ministry. They should fight for the cause of the MSMEs in the country. Because it is right, 85% of our GDP moved in the private sector domain is done by the MSMEs. Kudos to them. And they should get loans in easier way without mortgaging their assets. So, this is what we have to see. This is the job of the country and the concerned ministry and the Reserve Bank of India and the bankers together, not the sole duty of the finance minister of the country. Finance minister has in principle said that this must be the way forward. So that in principle is there, and there is a clear support from the Ministry of Finance for this. But then the movers and shakers have to be the RBI and the micro, small and medium enterprises, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Nobody else. And the secretary is concerned over there. They should come forward to do this job. I am also the president of the Alliance for Small and Medium Enterprises of India, which I need to mention. I am going to write to these ministries and the Reserve Bank of India to take cue from the finance ministry's budget and go forward. And this will help both the Prime Minister, Finance Minister and the country to go forward in this direction.
So, sir, what about the education sector? Has the education sector been addressed adequately in the budget?
I think fantastically they have addressed this issue. They have loosened up the grip on the education. I told you about that 80,000 schools being upgraded, even this in the small region. Then Skill India, they have talked about a lot of the Skill India campaign in this. They have said Skill India must connect with Make in India. Like I again read back, senior secondary school within 5 kilometer reach of each child. This point number 8 of sub-point number 8 of point number 15, right? We need to upgrade over 80,000 secondary schools and add or upgrade 75,000 junior middle school. This is big. Then further it says the 2/3 of population below 35. I repeat again. The Skill India and Make in India programs are aimed at doing this. It is very clear that they are looking at this, all of this issue. So, SETU, self-employment and talent utilization. See, because this budget is saying we don't want youth to only seek jobs. They also want youth to become young entrepreneurs. So again, you are further going to, when I say young entrepreneurs, it is again micro, small and medium enterprises. I will tell you Skill India, this is what I wanted to read, the Skill India. So they said 54, this is point number 74. 54% of the total population below the age of 25. Our young people have to be both educated and employable in the 21st. Prime Minister has explained how Skill India needs to be closely coordinated with Make in India. Yet today we have less than 5% of your potential workforce that gets formal skill training to be employable and stay employed. Right? So they said Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Ministry has been set up and the National Skill Mission is there. They have introduced, they said we will soon be launching a National Skill Mission. So they are going to launch a National Skill Mission. That is a very big area and under the Skill Development and Entrepreneurship Ministry. Now the mission will consolidate skill initiatives spread across several ministries and allow us to standardize procedures and outcome of 31 sector skill council. Right? Rural population still forms 70% of India's population. Enhancing the employability of rural youth is key to unlocking India's demographic dividend. So I had warned in the previous thing that when you say the 3D, the democracy, demographic dividend and demand, I had warned about demographic dividend. They will become restless if they don't get a job. So they have addressed this issue. With my letter to the Prime Minister, it is addressed here. So it is addressed, they say 70% of them, they have recognized it. And they say Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana, 1500 crores has been set up apart for this scheme. So for rural youth, to make them get them employment, there is a clear program in the budget. Right? Disbursement will be through a digital voucher directly into qualified students' bank account. So no intermediate, no middleman can eat this. So why we are complaining? It is done here. Right? And they also say to enable poor and middle class students to pursue higher education of their choice without any constraints of fund. I propose to set up a fully IT based student financial aid authority, that is SFAI. to administer and monitor scholarships as well as education loan schemes. Through the Pradhan Mantri Vidya Lakshmi Karyakram, we will ensure that no student misses out on higher education for lack of funds. What else you need? Now urban student is also taken care of. And even if you go overseas, they are saying we'll take care of those funds. Then further it says, in the fiscal year 2015, I propose to set up All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh and Assam. This is both health and education, because health also is taken care of and medical education is also taken care of. Keeping in view the need to augment medical sciences in Bihar, I propose to set up another AIIMS-like institution in these states. I propose to set up an IIT in Karnataka, upgrade Indian School of Mines in Dhanbad into full-fledged IIT. Then I also propose to set up postgraduate institute of horticulture research and education in Amritsar. Come on, spread around the country. Now IIMs will be set up in Jammu and Kashmir and Andhra Pradesh, where they had. Okay, in Kerala I propose to upgrade existing National Institute of Speech and Hearing to a University of Disability Studies and Rehabilitation. What a step, right? I propose 3 new National Institutes of Pharmaceutical Education and Research in Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Chandigarh. So even medicines, education in medicines, modern medicines is taken care of, right? An Institute for Science and Education Research in Nagaland and Odisha. So states which are neglected, they are getting education institutions. I also propose to set up a center for film production. Very big step, I tell you. Animation and gaming in Arunachal Pradesh for northeastern states. Because the people from northeast have been seen to be good in media. So it is seen. I am saying the neighboring country of Bhutan has got a special emphasis on this. So why we are not doing? So we are only replicating what Bhutan is doing in the eastern side. So northeast was neglected. Huge fillip for the northeast when they do this. This would be an interim step toward establishing they said northeastern state apprenticeship training institute for women in Haryana and Uttarakhand. So even women training is taken care of. So education sector has been fully accounted for in this very clearly. And I'm saying, it's great, this budget has done great. I'm just going out of the way towards the next point also, like even for banks, because the banks have not been actually acting. So to bring them, there is a very good rider here. 80th point, governance of public sector banks. The government intended to set up an autonomous bank bureau. The bureau will search talent and heads of public sector. Bureau will search and select heads of the public sector bank, help in developing differential strategy and capital raising plans through innovative financial methods. This would be an interim step towards establishing a holding and investment company for banks. Why this is essential? MSME will never get loans from our banks. Banks' assets are only going to the rich and privileged. Because again, the manipulation has happened at the top of the helm of the CEOs of the banks. So to stop this is the step. This step will enable that the bank will be neutral. Banks will see all businesses in the same way, big or small, and therefore the small, and especially small, has to be handled, right? Now this can only happen if there is some autonomy in the selection of the chiefs of the bank. If government start controlling the bank, it is dangerous, right? So therefore a bank board is made, separate autonomy is given to the banks, and selection of CEOs is not influenced by the ministries. So these steps have been taken. It is written in the budget. Why people are not connecting these issues? That means when we don't understand something, we call it a foul. This is not done.
So sir, your views on Make in India and Skill India, resourcing in the budgetary provisions, as you already mentioned.
Yeah, I've already mentioned.
Yes.
I've already spoken about this. So I think let's go one step forward to a digital India, which is saying, it says the national optic fiber network of 7.5 lakh kilometer networking 2.5 lakh villages is being further speeded up to allow willing state to undertake education. So digital India is going to rural India, not to urban. See, in the budget is clear. And this will be done on reimbursement of cost as determined by Department of Telecommunication. And they say Andhra Pradesh is the first state to have opted for this manner of implementation. So AP has come, other states will also come forward. Then they say Finance Commission has not distinguished between special category and other states. Moreover, both Bihar and West Bengal are going to be amongst the biggest beneficiaries of recommendation of Finance Commission. Yet the eastern states have to be given an opportunity to grow faster. So they are seeing the imbalance. The east is poor in India with lot of resources. So they are helping the poor. Give similar special emphasis assistance to Bihar and West Bengal as has been provided to Government of India in the case of Government of Andhra Pradesh. As regards Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, government is committed to comply with all legal commitment made to these states at the time of reorganization. So these two new states were born. They are given jurisdiction, but they say we will pass on similar benefits to the state of Bihar and West Bengal. And we know what is Bihar. Bihar has only, I must come on record here, Bihar has only 495 megawatt of electricity installed capacity. And for 10.8 crores people. Compare that with, let us say, neighboring UP. It has 10 gigawatt of power for roughly 22 crore people. That's also bad. But look at Maharashtra. We have about 29 gigawatt for about 11.8 crore population. Therefore, they are developed. And look at Gujarat. For just 6.5 crore people, we have 30 gigawatt worth of electricity. 29 gigawatt, 24 they are operating. So, see the skewed model. So, we have to protect and defend the East. We have to also help. We cannot keep Bihar like this, So, only with 495 megawatt is the Andhakar state. So, so many governments have come, they have not done anything. So, this government is looking at those issues. Rural electrification is corrected. Look at the other aspect of this. They say we are committed to the welfare of the poor and new middle class. Keeping in mind adequate provision made for schemes for the poor and disadvantaged. Allocation of 68,968 crores to the education sector, including midday meals. Again, I come back to education for you. To commit it. 33,152 crore to the health sector and 79,526 crore for rural development, including Manrega, MG Narega, right? 22,407 crores for housing and urban development, 10,315 crores for women and child development, 4,173 crores for water resources in Namami Gange. So significant sums will be spent by the states on what the government is saying that we are going to spend so much. States are also urged to spend in the direction because government is giving from the tax kitty 62% to the states. So states are encouraged to spend. So if it comes from central and state, you can be rest assured that if both are true, I tell you, central has been true. It has given its funds also. State must implement. So it is a decentralized model of development. First time it is being tried. Let us give the opportunity to this. Let us not comment before it comes to implementation. Even in infrastructure, the Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridors is being taken care of. Ahmedabad-Dholera investment region in Gujarat is being developed. Shendre-Bidkin industrial park in Aurangabad is coming on the way. So, infrastructure also is coming. And this entire route from Delhi to Bombay, the Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor, will see development. It is the biggest development anywhere in Asia. So, are we not seeing the light of the day? What this government is planning? Now, before I go forward in this, I want to come back to the solar that I explained, Green India. The point is Green India, in which they have a commitment to Clean India, Green India, and when they met in the international market, we have a commitment to carbon mitigation. That means we want to reduce the carbon in the economy growth. The carbon-driven economic growth has to be reduced. So, to reduce the carbon, we have to increase renewable energy content. So this was one of the fundamental commitment, because otherwise international investment will not come, because protection of environment is related to development of renewable energy. So I always come back to that point, because driving the economy with an energy train which is less carbon in it is very critical for our future generations, for sustainability. So in this it's important. Scheme for faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicle is taken care of. 75 crore for the scheme is given in 2015-16, right? The Ministry of New and Renewable revised its target of renewable energy from 1,75,000 megawatt to 1,75,000 till 2002, comprising 100,000 megawatt was solar, that is 100 gigawatt, 60 gigawatt for wind energy, 10 gigawatt for biomass, and 5 gigawatt for small hydro. So totally 175 gigawatt of development, I told you. If you add this is massive. Your total installed capacity of renewable energy today, including hydro, in the economy is roughly about, we have 40 gigawatt of hydropower in the system and another 30 gigawatt of renewable energy. So totally about 70 gigawatt is what we have, at this point of time. So this 70 to 80 gigawatt is being enhanced to another 175 gigawatt. So it is not double, it is almost like close to 2.5 times that renewable portfolio is being increased in the country. So we should salute this process, and the budget is specific, budget is vocal, budget is de facto, de jure supporting this model of investment. There are so many things I have not read. For example, I see this point number 66, Act East Policy. The Government of India endeavours to cultivate, this says Government of India endeavours to cultivate extensive economic and strategic relations with Southeast Asia and international relation, given part of the budget. And what it says, in order to catalyze investment from Indian private sector in this region, a project development company will through separate special vehicle set up manufacturing hubs in CMLV. What is CMLV? These are Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos and Vietnam. So it is not that we are in our own national commitment, we are showing commitment to Southeast Asia. We are already committed to SARC. We are the leaders of SARC, and we know when I wrote in May 2015 in Inertia that Prime Minister must first focus on Bhutan. That was my first article which I sent the entire magazine to the Prime Minister. The Inertia was sent to him. In Inertia it was written that he must focus and he must first visit Bhutan. And everybody for the viewer will remember the Prime Minister went by the Inertia logic and visited Bhutan. And recently when Bhutan Prime Minister came actually at Vibrant Gujarat, his speech was the finest speech, and again it was reiterated that our best friend in the region is Bhutan. In fact, it is the best friendly country for us, and we have now, not only that, we have extended that friendship to Nepal. Now we are going forward. We may even talk to Pakistan. There is no big deal about it. We may come back because we need to bring this entire SARC into SARC together, and that leadership he has provided. We remember that in the ASEAN summit in I would say recently in Myanmar, the Prime Minister was with Obama and all the world leaders came in the ASEAN summit. And then the G20 also we mentioned. So we are making our international relations grow, in which we understand the poor countries of Southeast Asia. We are not talking of the Japan, Korea, the rich one. We are saying India will invest in the countries like Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos and Vietnam, which come under that category, which is clearly the Act East policy of the government. And this is Southeast Asia. So from South Asia to Southeast Asia, we are spreading the wing. Right? We have also recently made fantastic forays with our work with Bangladesh. So if the budget is so forward-looking, so strategically forward-looking, and it actually has a global outlook to it while it has a national outlook, I think every Indian must be proud about what is happening today. That our entrepreneurs are also capable of going and investing in these areas. So it is a statement. Another thing I want to talk about is that commitment to women. Safe India, in which they have just one point, in 67 points. Government is committed to safety and security of women, which has been under discussion in the country. 1,000 crores to Nirbhaya Fund. Already Chidambaram budget gave 1,000 crores, another 1,000 to 2,000 crores. So I think the women, which is the concern of every common man, because women power in the country must increase. Every household, in fact it is the Parashakti, it is the women and an androgynous growth model of the economy. I have always written in India Brandished that India should become an androgynous growth country. When I say androgynous, Ardhanarishwar. Without woman there is no man, it's very clear. So that is the shape of the Ardhanarishwar. So androgynous means Ardhanarishwar. Androgynous growth model means equal role for women in the economy. An economy should look like androgynous, it should look like the Ardhanarishwar. India's economy should look like Ardhanarishwar. So it can only happen with the role of women. And so without security, without safety, women cannot contribute. And we must give them access to the economy, we must give them more role. In fact, I would be very happy if in the next budget they talk about that those companies which actually have more women in the organization will given a tax rebate. Something like this should come. And also, I would request this finance minister to implement one thing. What is that thing? If a husband and wife are working, and let us say the wife is a housewife, then the computation of income of the husband should be divided by 2. That means if the husband earns about 5 lakhs, his income should be considered only 2.5 lakhs. But with the rider, provided the husband gives by way of check and shows the proof and evidence that he has given 2.5 lakhs to the wife by check. So he has divided his income. So computation of income will be half. That means the housewife's income would also be taken into account separately. So they will be considered 2 individuals earning 2.5 lakh, 2.5 lakhs. And now what has happened is skewed. If the husband is earning much and wife is not earning, she is not even in the economy. She is not even a contributor to GDP. So computation of income should be done by X divided by 2. In the case of housewives, it should be done like that, provided the husband gives that 50% clearly to the wife. It will also empower that woman, and then you compute the income and ask her to file her returns. If you do this, your GDP will look very different. Shape of the GDP will change, and the empowerment of women will have through the financial modeling, because we don't respect housewives and their contribution in this country to the GDP, and this will change if we do this. So this is an example of a policy. One point in this budget, which is in the area of tourism. India has 25, the budget recognizes that India has 25 cultural World Heritage Sites. These facilities are still deficient and require restoration, including landscaping, signages, interpretation signs, parking. But we need to attract visitor attraction to this areas must happen, and they should be maintained well. So very nice beginning in the first budget. Out of 25, 10 sites are given. I propose to provide resources to start work on these lines for following heritage site: churches and convents of Old Goa, Hampi in Karnataka. Now churches and convent, it's basically a thoroughfare of the Christian community and their presence in India. Hampi in Karnataka, of course, a Hindu site, Hindu temple site. Elephanta caves, we know that these are Buddhist origin as well, right? Kumbhalgarh and other hill forts of Rajasthan, very important to the tribes and the warrior tribes of Rajasthan. Rani Ki Vav, Patan, Gujarat, definitely good play. Leh Palace, Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, obviously in another state. Varanasi, temple town of UP, Prime Minister is there. We give definitely full marks. The Prime Minister should definitely ensure that the Varanasi is pious to the Hindu, also develop. Jallianwala Bagh, nobody took a damn care of this all this while. Jallianwala Bagh is historical for India, and it is also Amritsar. It's also given a historical heritage situation. And Qutub Shahi tombs, Hyderabad, very famous, and they are being put in this. So there is also the, I would say, Sabko inclusive growth, all the communities. So there is a message in this while developing tourism and all. Message in this that this government is also moving towards secularism. We don't have to highlight that everywhere, but they are committed to it. They are committed to development of all. Secularism is not the forte, or it is not the fiefdom of one particular. It is a constitutional provision. So the government is made through these statements that they are constitutionally committed to all these things. They will develop all the heritage side. They will not discriminate against anybody. And we are now doing this interview on the day when there is the formation of government in Jammu and Kashmir, right? And the formation of government is happening in the Muslim majority state of India. That's a fact reality. That is the only Muslim majority state of India which has access to India. And BJP is a partner in the government. So maybe a lot of criticism will come, but it's a historic day today that such a government has been formed. And there is a chief minister and a deputy chief minister from both the parties, that is PDP and BJP, come together. So after the budget, this has happened, And today there was a meeting of NASCOM where the Prime Minister went for the Digital India thing. So I think, I feel after my 9 months of I would say I was a little disappointed. I'm definitely disappointed with certain ministry like Minister of Power not acting, Minister of Railways not acting. But overall, I'm saying the Modi has returned with a fire. He's returned back. His speech in the parliament a day before the budget was the starting point, and the budget has set the tone. The union budget has set the tone for the future of India. And I say government must not only stop here, it must implement it in letter and spirit. If they implement it in letter and spirit, critics will slowly start admiring this government. And I was one of the critics, but I am today admiring this government's budget. And this is a good day to celebrate. This is a time to celebrate. Formation of the government in Jammu and Kashmir is also, and the establishment of government over there is good for India. This is the start of the process. It is also a major step. And I would say this budget has a lot for northeastern states. It focuses on them. It continues to focus on the investment in northeast. Great for the country. Like for example, we talked about like a National Film Development Institute in Arunachal Pradesh. You can see what they are doing. Budget did not have, so for a lot of people it was missing. Critics have come and gone gaga and said nothing for rural economy. And my entire reading out and showing to you today, this viewer, through this Enfra show on the ENFRAtv, we have openly exposed that critics are incorrect in this particular case. And I have been a constructive critic of the government. A constructive critic of the government has come on the air today and said full marks to the budget, not 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10 in an 80-20 principle. As I again reiterate, this was a situation of a child. I again repeat, a situation of a child which did not have any electricity yesterday, right? It barely got its food. It could not sleep because of that. It read in that situation, and then after reading, coming to next day and writing the exam, and after 2 or 3 days when the exam result came, they say he scored 8 marks out of 10. Not bad, boss. It is brilliant, I tell you. It is excellent score. 80% score is an excellent score. You never slap a child when he scores 80. You never touch a child when he scores 80. You not only pat the back, actually you must kiss this child, for what this child has done in a very, very, I would say, very difficult situation. Difficult time of the global economy, difficult time of the Indian economy as well, and difficult past. policy paralysis past of 5 years, we have seen an extraordinary work by Jaitley. I am really appreciating. I hope Jaitley ji continues like this for the next 3 or 4 years. I will tell you, India will not look back if it is done constantly. This is the beginning. This must be implemented in letter and spirit, and he must continue in this mood for India. And if he continues in this mood, I don't see any way India failing. Jai Hind and Hail India. And I would say we should be very, very happy for SuperPowering India. India Brandished, I say. SuperPower India will be born if this goes along in this way. And not this way. I will continue to be critical where it is required. I'm not going to be yes man of any government. I personally and my team and what constructive work we're doing. But yes, while we constructively keep criticizing the government, criticizing its ministers, criticizing the department, today is the day to celebrate a great step and move forward for India and a great move forward for superpowering the brand India. Through this and my book in India Brandished, which will be written along with my colleague A.Prakash Iyer, will be highlighting this fact shortly. We are on the final shape of the book, so this budget and its result will be added into that. So congratulations once again. Good luck to this government. I look forward because we have to work with this Prime Minister for the next 5 years, and we must give him all the power to ensure that we go towards this goal of superpowering India. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you for watching today's Union Budget 2015.
And we look forward to see all of you again on the Enfra show.
Thank you for watching.
This is Professor Iyer, and with me is Steffi today, and we come back again with you with another issue on our next show. Bye-bye for now.